For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Do you believe that there is anything in St. Lucia that is remotely working? Who asked that question? Also, coming up, qualities of a good politician. All that and more on this afternoon's NewsSpin program between now and 2 o'clock. My name is Timothy Poleon. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the broadcast. We go up until 2 o'clock. Hello to you watching on Facebook, watching on the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as on YouTube, and listening on Power 97.9 FM. Those of you in the chat room already saying good afternoon. Let me say hello to one and all. Ashlyn Mangal is in the chat room, as well as Lucy St. Luce. Those are the people in the chat room right now. We have a Janice there. Bernadette is in the chat room, and we also have Catherine in the chat room. Hello to everyone. Our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day, a simple one. What do you make of life in St. Lucia? I know this is a broad question. What do you make of life in St. Lucia? Some of your responses. It's hard, my dear, very hard. By the time you pay bills and groceries, salary's done. Another person comments, still thankful for being above ground. Another one says, I think we are all walking, but we are all dead. Another comment, hard, 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 like a rock. Somebody says, life in St. Lucia is like peaches. Another one, unfortunately, the only time I think of migrating is when the SLP is in office. They are making it difficult for any self-employed person to survive due to lack of economic activities. Now, at least formal responses. Somebody says, can't understand shit going on now in this little Lucia. Somebody says, you're expecting life to be a better roses for y'all. Y'all want everything to be absolutely perfect with no blemishes. Give thanks and praise for the precious breath of life. It wasn't perfect for Jesus Christ. This world is not perfect no matter where you go and live. So get y'all grip on. 2 more comments. Life is easy and grateful people say life hard. Move away from y'all materialistic lifestyle. And finally, even our shit have gotten expenses. Even our shit have gotten expensive. A bale of toilet paper has moved from $33 to $44 in less than a year. Once again, the broad NewsSpin question for the day: what do you make of life in St. Lucia? And so we had that question being posed to yours truly yesterday on NewsSpin. For a guy who really likes to always ask questions on this broadcast. Let's listen.
Do you know anything at all in St. Lucia that looks like it's remotely working? Do you know anything at all in St. Lucia that looks like it's remotely working?
For sure. Not the Bodily Correctional Facility, which is this year into its 20th year of operation. Because I got a call this morning from an individual, and the person said that, boy, do you know what's happening at the Bodily Correctional Facility right now? And I said no. And the individual responded by saying that as far as they are aware, the staff there, the prison staff, they are not on duty. Yes, they're on the premises, but they're not on duty. The individual went on to say that the employees who were supposed to relieve the staff, the officers, this morning, apparently did not show up for duty. So the inmates are basically running the prison. They are on their own. Can you imagine this is happening at a prison facility? When it is well staffed, well run, rent operated, etc., any prison around the world, from time to time, there would be outbreaks of violence, there'd be chaos, as has happened at the BCF. There would be violence where prison officers would be attacked by the inmates. Prison officers will be setting, not prison officers, but the inmates, would be setting the mattresses on fire. It has happened before. So far as now, where you have a situation where the prison staff, they have decided enough is enough. And this is something that has been happening for a very long time. You remember the Royal Jail on Bridge Street? Fires, the inmates taking over the prison. And we were told then that the construction of a new facility would have made this a thing of the past, to no avail. And when on this broadcast you say things like, all the administrations, they have failed us in terms of allowing problems to become something like a norm because of the occurrence that is not disappearing at all. Whether it is under this administration or that administration, it is just more of the same. What they do is to just transfer the problems that they inherited from one government to the incoming government, and the in-government later, after 5 years, if it is removed from office, it passes on the same problem without any improvement at all, or very, very little, to the incoming administration. And so it continues. And so what Bodily is going through right now It is not an overnight problem. It did not happen in 2021. It did not surface in 2021. It has been with us for decades. And the director of the Bodley Correctional Facility, Mr. Hilary Hillman, he has been speaking about this for a while. Other prison staff, they have been speaking about this for a while. They have been saying that the rate of recidivism is high. They have been saying that the various programs that should help rehabilitate the inmates, those programs are not being undertaken. I mean, you have few private interests from time to time stepping in and assisting and visiting the inmates, etc. But what about the programs that have been instituted? On paper, they exist to address the needs of the inmates, because the inmates are individuals. After they serve the time behind bars, they must be released into the society. They must be reintegrated. And so what kind of inmate would be released into the society? Basically, somebody who has not been reformed. He went there at one particular level and he is being released into the society, a totally different individual, not better, definitely not better. And if you cannot address the problems of the prison staff, the officers, are you telling me that you're in a position to reform our prisoners? Are you telling me that's what it is? Because obviously that is not the case. Incidentally, it was just, I think last week, the director of corrections at the Bodley Correctional Facility, Mr. Hilary Herman, was being interviewed on NTN. And just briefly, this is what he said.
Bodley has not met half of its peaked performance. It just has not gotten there. Right. There is so much more that can be done. In spite of that, we've had some very good success stories, and we're hoping that that can continue. Bodley has not met half of its peaked performance. It just has not gotten there. Right. There is so much more that can be done. In spite of that, we've had some very good success stories, and we're hoping that that can continue.
Mr. Hilary Human, the Director of Corrections at the Bodley Correctional Facility. My understanding is officials are meeting right now. I hope that Mr. Leonard Terrence, the Deputy Director of the BCF, will find some time before we conclude our broadcast to call me and to tell me what's happening there at the BCF, because he has called this broadcast ever so often, prompted by comments that we have made whenever there's a disturbance, some kind of upheaval there. NewsSpin has been at the forefront reporting on those incidents, and equally, he has always taken the opportunity to call and to clarify. So if you are listening, Mr. Leonard Terrence, as soon as you get the opportunity, please call us, because we want to find out exactly what is happening. Or maybe somebody from the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Minister, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, can inform us of the situation at the Bodley Correctional Facility, because we all should be very, very concerned about the situation at that institution, because we could have some serious disruption to life in this society. And I know very often Mr. Terrence does not like to hear that, because he might get the impression that we are exaggerating and unduly causing members of the public to be concerned. Imagine if at least 4 or 5 inmates are under loose right now. That will have everyone on edge, particularly in the vicinity of the prison. Your Dennery, Miku, surrounding communities, and even people in the north of the island certainly would be on edge. And it's not only for people on the outside, law-abiding citizens. We are not fretting over this primarily because of our own concerns, our own welfare, but that of the inmates, because those are not pigs, those are not animals, and even we're supposed to take care of our animals. More so, take care of the inmate population. Take care of the prison staff. They have been complaining for a very, very long time, and those concerns apparently have fallen on deaf ears. As far as the BCF is concerned, we have the current population of about 414, 190 male sentenced, 304 male on remand. We have 6 juveniles. We also have 4 female sentenced, and 10 are females on remand. So we have a significant number of people behind bars there, 514. And of course, we have a significant number of those people who are on remand. 304 male inmates or males are on remand. Okay, they have not been convicted. They're still waiting the time to appear before a magistrate or a judge. And we all have heard constantly about the backlog of cases. So over to the authorities, over to the Home Affairs Minister. As much as we said that this has been handed over to her, something that she inherited, not making excuses for any politician, it is your responsibility to work diligently towards addressing this particular problem at the Bordelais Correctional Facility. Let's open the lines right now to take your calls at 452-2979. That's 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026, 716-2026. All right, let's go through to see if we have any of your WhatsApp messages coming in to date. Not any. Somebody said that, Tim, you remember I sent you a posting in early August written by a lawyer who was at court when the chief gave his report. Yes, ma'am. I do remember. And let me see if I could read whatever that you sent me. And it reads, yesterday I heard a report to the High Court in St. Lucia by the director of the Bordelais Correctional Facility, Mr. Henry Herman, which painted a bleak picture. Basically, at or most of the rehabilitation programs at which the facility are either non-functional or barely functional. There are no teachers to conduct the educational programs, no adequate programs for those suffering from medical problems, particularly those suffering from mental health illnesses/problems. A shortage of staff on a daily basis with an absentee rate estimated at approximately 30%. No wonder there are more recidivists than first-time offenders, according to Mr. Herman's report. Later, in yesterday's sitting of the court, a defendant reported that he was unable to participate in an anger management program as ordered by the court due to the absence of someone to conduct the course. Mr. Herman actually admitted that there was a breakdown of discipline at the facility, and at times the inmates ran the facility. No wonder if order at the facility, there is the production of hardened offenders leaving the facility. So thank you so much for that. And you wonder why politicians, particularly when they are in the island's parliament, do not address such issues. Instead, they focus on each other. And they did it this week. They did it on Tuesday. The Senate is currently meeting, and you hardly find the senators engaging in those kind of petty exchanges. That's because they were not elected. They have been appointed. You know, you feel you have a certain power. You have a certain mindset whenever you are elected. Some of the politicians behave that way because they have the backing of the people. They were elected, they were not appointed, etc. But it's all the reason why you should take your role seriously as an elected member of parliament. You are there at the behest of the people. The people elected you. Not so that you can go out there and settle your old scores and things that are affecting you, address them and say, oh, you've been victimized, the worst persecuted and prosecuted individual in St. Lucia, etc., seeking pity. That's not why people elect you into office. People elect you into office because they see you as a particular breed, an individual who has certain qualities that are rare, supposedly that are rare, that you not find among ordinary folks who are walking the streets, etc. And it's not all about you, it's about representing the interest of the masses. And issues relating to the Bodily Correctional Facility, address it, and people will love you for that. Matters relating to crime, address it. Problems at the OKEU hospital, lack of medication. If you're there, you cannot make a call outside the facility and you cannot receive a call from outside the facility. Those are serious issues that should preoccupy your attention, as opposed again to focusing on those petty little things that affect you as an individual. When you're supposed to be an individual who has certain qualities, who definitely can not only take care of yourself, represent your interests, but more so represent the interests of the people. A politician, elected politician, should be a selfless individual. It is all about what is affecting Joe Brown at Marsha, what is affecting Andrea over in Denery, what is affecting Peter in the Mang over in View Fort, what is affecting, let's say, somebody called Terry over in Castries South. It is not about you, because very often you have a profession, very often you have your home, you exist in a so-called stable environment. It is to look after the interest of the downtrodden. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
The situation at the Bodily Correctional Facility is very worrying, Tim. This is a national security threat and issue, and we all as St. Lucians have to be worried. I mean, this is, again, you're right, Tim. Rather than dealing with issues, which is the issues of the country, such as unemployment, the crime situation, high inflation, national security, this SNP administration was preoccupied on Tuesday at the last parliament session with Alan Chaffee. What's happening at Bodily, we all as St. Lucians should be concerned, because if there's this, as you know, reported, the employees down there too. That means there's a strike at the Bodily Correctional Facility. So prisoners are they are their free will right now, based on the information that we're getting so far, and that's worrying. This is a national security issue. I don't think St. Lucians really understand as of today what's going on, what's happening right now as we speak. And this government, this SFP administration, should take their job seriously. People are suffering in the country, high inflation. 3,000 construction workers were fired by this SLP administration. I mean, the prices of the goods on the shelves keep rising. People cannot afford basic commodities. We see shortages of even sugar that has never happened before. So I want to appeal to this SLP administration. Get down to serious work and stop the obsession with Alan Chaffee. Thank you very much, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. In the chat room, somebody says, Tim, do you think that something which has featured over 5 years that it can be done in 1 year? We have to be real and honest and not make idle statements. Let's see what we can do together. St. Lucia must come first. Of course, St. Lucia must come first. But let us not go easy on our politicians, because the same individuals just prior to the last general election who gave us the impression that, it was a walk in the park as far as addressing the ills of the society, they are in power now. And you might say, well, why just 1 year? How do you address those issues? Then it becomes 2 years in office. And you will be writing the same thing in the chat room. 3 years later, you will be telling me the same thing. 4 years later, you will jump to the defense again of the government. 5 years later, you will say, give them a chance to complete. Let us be realistic about what we are going through at this point in time. Because as an individual asked, again, the interesting question, is anything in this country working satisfactorily? For example, how long must it take for us to address that St. Jude Hospital project, the rehabilitation or reconstruction of the St. Jude Hospital? We've been making a mockery of ourselves as a people for so long over this project. When was this fire? How long has it taken? Anniversary after anniversary. We cannot tackle this issue. You tell me, boy, you're singing that particular tune to me? And I was being very reasonable earlier on when I said that this government inherited this problem at the Bordelais Correctional Facility. So don't give me the impression that I am so deluded in my approach, in my thinking, that I don't understand that this cannot be addressed overnight. But if we give the politicians, if we make excuses for them, then this will go on linger for an eternity. They will do nothing about it because they know they have their supporters out there who would say, boy, they just came in, give them a chance. After the first 5 years, give them a chance. Another 5 years, another set of politicians come in, and we just continue to relay the problem and to hand the problem to one party, one administration, and there isn't any kind of rectification at all. We'll be hearing in just a moment from the Director of Corrections at the Bordelais Correctional Facility, Mr. Hilary Herman. I have not listened to the information, but we have some audio to share with you. We have a call in line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Mr. Poleon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
By the way, when you refer to me, feel free to mention my name. You don't have to say an individual, okay? So, an individual said.
I take it to mean that, people are listening, they don't miss NewsSpin, so they know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's always good to remind them, Tim. Always to remind them, because I stand by the things I said, and I don't want anybody to forget I said it, and they can challenge me anytime. But I want to challenge you now, Tim, before I go anywhere. Did you actually say that our elected officials have qualities that are rare, that they are talented people, and all that kind of stuff? Did I hear you say that?
I did say that.
Were you joking? I mean, you said it.
Okay.
Later on,
Later
on you said, let's be realistic.
I was being facetious, Rick. I was being facetious.
Be very careful, Tim. Be very careful, because yesterday I was talking to somebody. I was telling something you said, and I said with Tim, you can never know, and I've told you so before privately, you can never know when Tim is pulling your leg, when Tim is being funny, or when he's being sarcastic. But I don't think we can afford to be other than very, very clear in what we say in those life and death situations. Now, let me say something that I hope it's not misinterpreted, although I try my best. Although I know things can be misinterpreted, even when they are not misunderstood. Right?
Yeah.
Conveniently.
Yeah.
Tim, for the last several weeks, I have been going through issues and issues of the Star. There are statements by Poleon John when he was in charge of our national security and the police and everything else. There are statements he made on amnesty, statements he made on paying people to bring in their guns. All of them have failed. I told you a little while ago that only last May, Kenny Anthony made a speech, very good speech, that we have got some things wrong in fighting crime. We are not doing the right things. And he said collectively, say that collectively, not just his government. Now it is very, very difficult to establish who inherited what, whatever.
Yeah.
St. Lucia is a problematic country. I have said over and over, St. Lucia never has been able to take care of itself then. And it's a controversial statement, but it's an indisputable statement. St. Lucia has always depended on the generosity of strangers, sometimes strangers we hate. Okay? And we have also endorsed. Tim, can you believe that an ambassador, a United Nations ambassador, determined for himself, by himself, to forge a document that will allow a friend of his to pretend the building, a multi-million-dollar building belonging to the people of St. Lucia, so that they can take a loan from a loan shark. You know loan sharking is illegal, right?
Yes.
Good. So that's one. So an ambassador of St. Lucia engaged in an illegality of taking a loan on a St. Lucian property, forging documents, etc., etc., etc. And there was a one-man inquiry. And he determined, there's a report, he determined that the guy didn't use the money for himself, so nothing, it wasn't corruption. Can you believe that? What he did with the money, Tim, by the way, which he said was he did it so badly to fix the building, was he paid a lot of bills for his friends. He threw dinners for a carnival band, because at that time he had intentions of running for the Growth List seat. But that is what we have been endorsing, Tim, for years and years in one shape or another. In one shape or another, we've been endorsing that.
So that's why when we hear things like special prosecutor and so on, and I asked the question yesterday, who is without sin as far as corruption is concerned, and our politicians, when they present those legislation in Parliament to set up those various positions and offices and so on, you get the impression that within the camp you do not have things of that nature occurring.
Well,
they're without sin.
You and I have a small difference here. If the government passes a law that will be implemented, and that will see to it that from here on, people who take the government money or whatever it is and approve it to pay heavily, I am prepared to overlook. As a matter of fact,
but Rick, we've been there before. We've so many attempts.
Just to back up.
Integrity Commission. We have Integrity Commission.
Tim, I know all that. Just listen to me, please. Bear with me. I know. I might start quoting Psalms to you like a friend yesterday. Listen to this, Tim. The culture of indifference or inattention to public accountability has now at last been, by implication, addressed in the shape of the new post-May 1997 government of St. Lucia, which appropriately decided to set up a commission of inquiry pursuant to a clear commitment in its election manifesto. You got that, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
That is Mr. Blum-Cooper.
Yeah.
And he makes reference to the election manifesto that promised the people of the country accountability and also that the former ministers, if they get into office, the former ministers, the government, whatever, will be put before inquiry and the courts and everything, which they did.
Mm-hmm. But what came out of that?
That was the Blum-Cooper inquiry, etc. It ended up with Blum-Cooper asking the government to apologize to the very people they had accused. Remember that?
Yeah.
In this time, Tim, 2000, whatever it is we're in right now, 2021, we had an election.
21, yeah.
And for 5 years, you heard people being accused of the worst criminality for 5 or more years, and nobody pressured anyone to go for a judicial inquiry, do something, prove that somebody was etc. But in the process, we had a country at war with itself, hating each other, and now the people want their pound of flesh. So the government, as promised, is going about organizing what I'm hoping is going to be putting people understand.
But Rick, I know time is against us, but Rick.
The point I'm making, Tim, is these election promises that, because people end up, when you don't do them because you know you were talking crap or you don't have the evidence and you don't do it, then the people of the country start seeing the politicians promising the promises, and they don't care. And the politicians who care only about staying in office, they will deliver by whatever means they can, whatever means. And sometimes it means using the trappings of the state. I mean, did you hear the debate on the prosecutor?
Yeah.
Did you hear the debate?
Well, past for debate, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. There were gentlemen there telling you plain and simple that it happened to me, and the law is not passed because of somebody's personal grievances, Tim. But St. Lucia accepts that and applauds that kind of mediocrity. So we're down that slope, and we keep on picking one, picking there. Baudelaire was one of the best things that ever happened to St. Lucia. Kenny Anthony, if that is his only legacy, great. Because what passed for a prison before Kenny Anthony was something crying to heaven for vengeance. It was horrific. The inhumane treatment. People were killed in there. People were raped in there. And nothing. And the conditions. That's why I didn't give a damn when Alan Chastney blew away what he blew away. That was a comfort to me, because that is what I knew happened at that prison. And Kenny Anthony came and he gave them, he didn't even want to call it a prison, he wanted to call it a rehabilitation center. But because of our attitude in this country, because don't forget, the people of this country, by and large, are not interested in justice, Tim. They're interested in revenge, or they're interested in, if you find yourself at Baudelaire, man, you're not supposed to be fed. What they call it, a 5-star hotel. That is the sensibility of this country, and has been for the longest years. We have brought on ourselves what's going on there, so that a talk show host like you get yourself in trouble because you touch one card, and there are 15 other cards that must be touched in unison with that, and you don't have the time for that. So you keep on having to touch one little thing every day, and the new thing is the one that's remembered, and the one that created it is forgotten by the whole people. But we are the ones, Tim. I have shifted gears from the politicians now, yeah. I tell you, we the people of this country. The politicians are not the ones going around raping people, chopping people up, shooting people up. They cause it by neglecting one way or another, or by stirring up hate in the country, or by not having a police force. They encourage it, but they are not the ones actually doing the acts. So a lot of things that are happening in our country,
but they're definitely benefiting from it, Rick.
They benefit from it.
They benefit.
But you and I know that. You think there's anything you and I mean, your callers tell you so all the time. Your callers tell you so all the time. But depending on who's in office, you get different callers. That these guys make money no matter. That these guys pretend to be enemies. That these guys profit. At whose expense? At the populace's expense. And the populace signs a check, Tim. They give them the permission to do it. So I don't know what the hell we're going to do about this country. And like I told you before, straight talk, they don't like it. But St. Lucia is on the brink of being irredeemable. They will quell that thing. They will go and promise the guys at border there a little buck here and there, whatever. And the guys, they need money, they need to eat too. So they will forget it and go back. And the cycle continues. Nothing changes then. And Baudelaire is only one. There is not a single institution in this country that operates as halfway as good as we expected.
Okay, Rick.
I didn't think it no more time.
Thank you so much for your contribution as usual. Coming up, we'll be hearing from the Director of Corrections at the Baudelaire Correctional Facility as they continue to watch the broadcast on our NewsSpin Facebook page, listen on Power 97.9, and you're also watching on YouTube.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilec aveti ou pour point précaution durant saison cyclone ça là. Mi un petit commission qui kaywen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Kouye Lucilec avant ou trim et ben couper pied bois qui pouet ligne électrique. Veillez pour ligne courant électrique avant ou monter l'échelle. Fait assurer l'échelle, scaffold et bout d'outils ou ka servi pas venir moins qui 10 pieds hors ligne courant électrique. Pas jamais servi appliance et ben outils qui ka servi courant électrique. Des war côté qui mouillé et ben en la pli. Ça c'était en commission hors Lucilec.
The biggest party in sport is back for the 10th year of CPL. And the St. Lucia Kings want to go all the way this year. CPL will be bigger, better and louder than ever. And with the return of our very own Johnson Charles to the Kings team. The games are between 7th and 11th of September. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Born from the same soil, growing stronger.
Raised of our own sweat and toil, doing it together.
I'll bank for you and me,
taking us forward so proudly.
First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. The pride of St. Lucia, here to stay.
Growing up, growing stronger, it's a First National way.
Every day we're banking better, faster and smarter, convenience like no other.
First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. We'll go far. For decades every day, it's clear, it's true.
First National Bank, we're here for you.
Hillary Herman, Director of Corrections. In relation to the reports that there has been agitation by staff at the Borderley Correctional Facility, I can confirm that there has been a level of discontent with the staff in regards to the time it takes for purchasing of equipment. I am currently in a meeting with the officers addressing the issues and explaining to them that there are no quick fixes to our problems. The Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Albert Poyet, has established a review committee to conduct a thorough evaluation of the operations of the facility, and recommendations are now being deliberated at the ministry level. An update will be provided as the situation develops.
The brief statement coming from the Director of Corrections at the Borderley Correctional Facility, Mr. Hillary Herman. In light of developments at the BCF earlier today, employees deciding to withdraw their labor. And if you're just joining us, we'll be playing that clip in just a moment, so please stand by as we continue to take your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Somebody says there, Tim, the fire service is next. Let Minister King know that all the low-hanging fruits he promised us have now spoiled. And that's a WhatsApp message while we have a call on standby. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, concerning the appointment of the that special prosecutor, when we look at whatever is in the pipeline coming, Tim, that does not go for one particular political party, you know, Tim. Because we can never forget what transpired in the past by either administration and even right now there. Tim, check what happened in Parliament between the former Prime Minister, who is opposition leader now, and then our now Minister for Tourism. There is allegation upon allegation, accusation upon accusation. The question I want to ask our former Prime Minister, why is only now he placing so much emphasis into what transpired with Richard Fredericks, when that happened during the time that he...
Okay, hold on. What?
Kept that on
Colin,
the carpet, but now things start
what
to
do you care
resurface.
about, Colin? What do you care about Alan Chastney and Richard Frederick and Philip J.P. and all those guys when we have a bigger issue before us right now, Colin? Life and death situation in our country. Why are you focusing on those individuals?
No, but
what is more important?
What happened in Parliament, team? What happened in Parliament before our eyes? That how we have what we have. It's true we have bigger issue, but more and more they adding to it, team. Because it's not now that Shasta to come with them things. Why? Well, ask Shasta why is only now we have to come with these things, team. Okay? And what I'm about saying is that, team, regardless how many new prosecutors, how many judge, jurors, and executioners that they hired for we the taxpayers to pay the money, to pay them the salary, I do not see that the government and the opposition representative in Parliament behaving themselves. There is what you call the code of ethics. Tim, let me tell you, the ministers of government, elected ministers of government have been paid by taxpayers, and as a result they are civil servants. And then civil servants have good, civil servants must be example in their behavior in the communities where they represent. Civil servants have to have good personal habits at all times. Civil servants must even dress suitable during working hours. Civil servants must be punctual in working habits in the field, in the office, and at meetings. Civil servants must refrain from drinking and smoking before the public during working hours. These are good. These are standard for personal habits, then there is standard for attitude to work. Civil servants shall strive to maintain a high standard of healthy communities. Civil servants must abide by all rules and policies of the department and programs of their duties. Civil servants must be diligent in performing the assigned duties. Civil servants must develop and maintain report with our co-workers and supervisors. Civil servants shall be patient and courteous when speaking or listening to our community residents. Civil servants shall be unprejudiced and helpful to all requests from the community. Civil servants shall be well acquainted with the areas of the community. Civil servants shall be familiar with and act as a team member with all other public workers in the community. There is standard of professionalism. Civil servants shall be a successful, well-trained representative of their community. Civil servants shall be honest and act professionally at all times. Civil servants shall participate to the fullness extent in the affairs of the community. Civil servants shall respect the policies and programs of the ministries from whence they come from. Civil servants must refrain from participating in political issues. Civil servants shall refrain from accepting monies and gifts in the performance of their duties. Civil servants must respect and tolerate the moral, political, and religious beliefs of people in the community and their residents. Public servants shall maintain and properly store all government equipment used in performing their duties. Civil servants shall hold personal,
Okay, caller.
civil
Thank
servants
you.
shall hold
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry, folks, for subjecting you to this, but I hope you could see the humor in that contribution. Somebody said there, what magie is that? I just step out for a minute. I coming back to this magie. I mean, that's what NewsSpin is all about, and that is why people have a difficulty whenever I allow certain callers to be on for an extended period, because what I'm trying to do is to save you from hearing certain contributions. That's what it amounts to, But anyway, let's see what's happening in the chat room. I think we have a WhatsApp call coming from overseas. I think it's a while I've not heard from this particular caller. Let's see what she has to say. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you?
I'm okay, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
I listened to Rick. I actually listened to your last caller who talked about all of the ethical considerations or ethical requirements for civil servants. And actually, if people listen carefully, they will realize that he was right on track and was hitting the nail on the head, because all of these things are already written. And now we have the corruption bill, or the anti-corruption in public office bill, which is synonymous with the integrity bill, in my opinion. Okay? So, Timothy, what exactly is corruption? We're talking about corruption. Isn't corruption bribery, kickbacks, abuse of public office, and all of this?
Yeah.
And don't we already have laws that really addresses all of this?
We do.
So if we have those laws, and the prosecutor, the DPP, who is very, very well paid, does not have the go-aheads to go out and do his work, tell me, what is the difference between this bill now and what we already have? So, Timothy, wouldn't it have been better for government to first give us a bill that will correct the difficulties that we're actually having, which is getting evidence to prosecute people when the corruption happens? Shouldn't we have had a whistleblower legislation first? Because with this corruption bill, it's going to be a bill that's going to sit down and nothing's going to happen. So who is going to tell you when a civil servant does something that affects the nation? Who's going to tell you that? Who's going to tell the police when something, a member of the SSU or some other police officer participates in illegal activity? Who is going to tell you that? Another police officer will tell you that without any protection for him? A member of the civil servant will tell you when a letter is brought to the registrar of lands and she does nothing about it, or the lady at the office decides not to take it? Will another one sitting next to her say something about it if there is no protection for her? We need to stop pulling the people's legs, Timothy. You have situations where nothing runs in the country. I agree with Rick. But at the same time, we're not passing the legislation that's going to fix it. And we are on the verge of collapse because our legal system is not functioning. And everybody does what they want to do. So we have anarchy. You can have a case in court, and all sides know the case is in court, and still have the land worked on, cut up. So when a judge is sitting there thinking she's dealing with the case with number 123, 123 no longer exists because the other side has cut it up, done the topography of it, ready to build on it. So when a decision comes, if it comes for the other party, then that land has been sold. So what? Now you go to that person and you get $10 when the person who sold it has now taken off with $500,000? Come on. We need to make sure that the justice works in this country. We have to do what we need to have done. Pass legislation that allows the special prosecutor to get the evidence that he needs, that allows somebody in the public service to blow the whistle and to say, hey, listen, this isn't working. This isn't, because not everybody agrees with what happens when the wrong thing happens. You know, some people want to say something. Some people want to do something about it, but they can't because there is no protection for them. So the public prosecutor bill is not going to do anything for us. We need legislation that's going to allow us to do something when you're at the land registry and something happens, when you're the police, something doesn't happen that should happen, because to just say corruption, that's to draw a conclusion. You need the evidence. You need the evidence of the abuse of public office, and somebody, Joe Blow on the street, will not be able to give you that evidence because he is not in the offices. Okay? So then we really do need to take some time. Now with the Borderley Correctional System, we have a lot of prisoners, a lot of young men in prison that shouldn't be there. We have young men who have not had a trial in years. Why? That should never happen. We have young men who simply have mental issues. They're behind bars. That should not happen. We built a new building, yes, under Kenny, but we took the same laws, the same personnel, the same mindset, and we expect to see something different just because we get a new building. New buildings do not make things work. It's like the hospital. St. Jude, OKEU. We have them, but OKEU things aren't any better. But we have a new building because we never changed the operation of it. We have not changed that. And we need to start. The people who are red and yellow need to understand that all of us will be affected. All of us will suffer until and unless we understand that politics, party politics in and of itself, will not give us what we need to get. These people want to stay in office, and they will do what needs to be done to keep them in office, which all of the time is not what we need them to do. We need the legal system fixed. We need the justice system fixed. We need the Borderley correctional system fixed. We need to get a prosecutor out there to deal with all cases at Borderley. Let some people go home who do not belong there. Some people are there just as punishment. You know, Timothy, as a magistrate, police officer came to me to ask me to hold on to a minibus driver while that police officer went to do a course in the U.S. It was June. That police officer was coming back in October.
Wow.
Why hold on to that minibus driver? Because the minibus driver used some curse words to that police officer. That's just punishment for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even expect anyone to do that? But that's the kind of thing we do. And we have these people up there for no reason. Those that do not belong there, clear them out. The ones that committed crimes and are found guilty, they do their time, yes. Then free up some space, because we're not going to go build another prison. Build a school instead. Build a trade school instead. But we're not building another prison. We're going to do the work that needs to be done to clear this prison and allow these young men to be valuable members of the society, because all of our risk takers are within these men. Those are the minds we need to help nurture, because these are the people that are going to go out there and do things that's going to be great because they take the risks, but they don't have options. So what are they to do? Am I condoning the violence and all of that? Of course not. But I'm saying it's time to look at it from a perspective of doing things that make a difference. And what we're doing right now does not make a difference. The special prosecutor bill, yes, we appreciate it, we like it, but you know what? Give us a whistleblower bill, so perhaps maybe now the special prosecutor can look at a report from a whistleblower that says, here's what happens, and then he can do an investigation to see if what that report actually says is true. Without it, we're dead in the water, just as before. And please, Judicial and Legal Services Commission, take a look at the agencies that you're responsible for, because they are a large part of the reason why things aren't working in this country. And people like me, we're sick of it. Thanks, Timothy.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling. Somebody else is holding on. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello?
Timothy, PW here. Good afternoon to you and your listeners and your international listeners all over the world, Timothy.
Good afternoon, Colin.
Timothy, I concur with what Rick Wynn said, and also this lady that just spoke. I concur with everything she said. I couldn't have added anything else. But what I want to say, Tim, is when I heard the Prime Minister, it was in the House of Parliament, talked about that these people, they had a minibus, and in less than 5 years or 10 years, they have acquired a lot of wealth in this country. What I want to tell the Prime Minister is that if he's really serious about corruption, that the ministers that is in his party at the moment, have they declared their assets to the Integrity Commission? Have they done that? No, they haven't done that.
Well, we don't know. We don't know, caller. We don't know. We need to find out
Tim,
if they've done it.
If they did it, you wouldn't know, Tim? Now I'm asking you, if all of them did it, wouldn't you know?
Not necessarily, caller. We need to call. We need to find out from the. I don't even know.
We need to call and
Hold on,
Timothy.
caller. The Integrity Commission. I don't even know if we have an Integrity Commission in terms of
the
members on the board right now.
Right now, that sits in office should be able to inform us that every single member of his party has actually declared their assets to the Integrity Committee. You understand?
I don't even know if we have a functioning Integrity Commission, caller.
Well, we need to have one, team. But we're talking about, the Prime Minister was in House of Parliament talking about corruption. We need to have one. He needs to put one in place, Timothy. You understand? If he doesn't put one in place, how can he criticize how he comes in and he wants to appoint a special prosecutor? For what? For what? I want to know. The Prime Minister needs to come out and tell us whether there is an Integrity Committee and whether his ministers, they have actually submit, to the Integrity Committee. This is what I have to say. Don't come into Parliament and target the opposition ministers. Don't target the opposition ministers. He has to look in the mirror, because a lot of his ministers, we know that, they're in the same boat. They're in the same boat. So the Prime Minister needs to wake up and present to us a better report when it comes to corruption, when it comes to legislation, and when it comes to the Integrity Committee. Timothy, I thank you for this.
All right. Thank you so much. Somebody in chat room is saying with regard to whether politicians have made declarations to the Integrity Commission, the person says, Tim, they have not. And that's something I'll be pursuing. I'll try to make some calls tomorrow to find out. And I don't even know if we have a functioning Integrity Commission, if you have somebody at the helm, if you have the different commissioners in terms of the constitution of the Integrity Commission, the makeup, of the Integrity Commission. Somebody else is on the line. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon, dear caller.
Tim, I have a serious problem with the traffic department. I am going to say exactly how I feel about the traffic department. My daughter had an accident on the 24th of February. in front of Marcy, the waterfront they call it. The police investigate and all kind of thing like that, and up to now, they cannot call my daughter, they cannot tell me anything, because I was in the United States, I came down, I follow up with the police on 4 occasions. I'm going to call you. No file, nothing. Now, I want to make it clear to St. Lucians, because everybody's saying Renault. The man works for Renault, but he was not driving a Renault vehicle. He was driving his private car. When my daughter called and tell me she's in an accident, the first thing I ask her, if she's wrong. She said, Daddy, I am not wrong, but anyway, the police is there, they're taking measurements, and the results will come out.
Yeah, but the police, is the police or magistrate can determine whether you're right or wrong, you know, as far as a traffic accident is concerned.
Yeah, but
you have a traffic accident involving you have a traffic accident involving 2 motorists, and both will tell you on most occasions that they are correct. But continue, caller.
Yes, because the police call after 2 weeks and tell her, well, she's correct, she's right, they know where the guy is, they're going to inform the guy. Tim, nothing. I came back from New York. On 4 occasions, I have gone there. I'll call you. Nothing. Tim, you know, this month we'll have 6 months, and you know, if I get nothing from the guys or whatever, I don't have a case there.
Yeah.
I wrote to the complaints unit. I explained to them everything. Even, I'm not going to mention certain people's names. They tell me, well, that's crap. You should go to the complaints unit. I have sent in I went there, they gave me a form, I filled it in. Up to now, Tim, I have a serious problem with the traffic department, because I'm telling you, I bring in cars from Japan to sell, and actually my son was bringing a vehicle for me. Because, you know, if I'm going to sell a vehicle to you, you're going to say, well, Tim, you're going to say, well, the AC is not working. So I tell the guy, bring down the car. Now, not knowing, my son is very young. His license had just expired 2 days before he brought the car to me. He was excited to bring back the car, you know, down to Beaufort. There was how they call that, a traffic block or whatever, they're searching.
Traffic check.
They asked him why is the license, when he thinks it expired, they gave him a charge. And because the car had to sell, I did not insure it yet, because the individual had to come for the car like in 2 days. They charged my son $15. Tim, a wrong is a wrong.
15 what?
$1,500.
Okay, because you said $15.
A wrong is a wrong. I didn't hesitate. I paid the $1,500. I gave my son $500 to pay his driver's license. You telling me a car I bring down to sell, a man hitting it, my daughter was driving, because right now she has a car I gave her because her car came down. You telling me she is right? Up to now, nothing. I cannot support the police, and I'm calling the commissioner of police to open his door so I could talk to him. Because some of those guys, man, you know, you see fellas, now I'm not going to criticize all policemen, because you see guys now joining the force, and in 2 years, they drive one of the biggest transport on island. You understand? I don't know what went wrong. I don't want to accuse people, but when it's wrong, it's wrong. You charge me $1,500. I pay it. The car license, you know, it's full comprehensive. It's driving on the road. My daughter has a valid license. A man hit her. The police come to investigate it. You telling me? 6 weeks you call and tell her, yes, I'll get back to you because I tried to locate the fella. You know where the fella is. It's going to be 6 months. You cannot get back to me. I do not even know who the guy insurance is.
That's unfair.
That is wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong.
But you could buy some $1,500. It was wrong. I paid it. We in this country, we have to put things wrong. And you're in all kind of prosecutions, there, this, that. This whole country sucks. They don't really care about people. Look at all what is happening. Tim, probably sometimes you just leave the studio. You go in wherever you go in there. Gunshots there. You're not on anybody's business. And you yourself might get hit by a gunshot. Where is the security in this country? Where is the justice in this country? And a lady called a while ago and talking about those people that bought a little minor little crimes. They have the guys there. And there's bigger crimes there. And some of the policemen know who are the guys. And they don't care about people. You know, they don't care about people. And I'm asking the commissioner of police to open his door for me. Let me come and talk to him. I am not pushing my hand in my pocket to repair my car. This is the car that had to be stolen since in February, at the ending of February, and it happened on the 24th of February. Nothing. So what's the sense we've been paying? You know, people in the police force getting big salaries and they're not executing their work. You understand? I don't know who they're rubbing shoulders. I do not know what path. I'm on island right now and I need answers right away because I wrote the complaint form or whatever they have me to fill in. It's in the office. Over 2 weeks, nothing. The 24th is coming. Because I know the only choice I have, Tim, is to sue the government. Lack of negligence by the police that's investigating the matter. That is wrong, Tim. That's why you have killings and people does not want to come forward and tell the police who are the individuals. Because they don't have trust in the police. And right now, I don't believe we have a police force in this country. Because they just join a salary and nobody care about even you, Tim, your family, and other families in this country. It's wrong. Mr. Daisy, you're listening to NewsSpin. That's the only time you could get the message. I want you to open your doors so I could come in because I'll work with the complaint form that they gave me to fill in. We need to wake up, man. We need to wake up. The police, most of them not doing their work. There's policemen that want to do their work. And Tim, I don't know what to say again. Let me just end it that way.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much. But it's not the only individual with that kind of concern where you have a vehicle accident and you're waiting a police report because you want to take it to the insurance company, but to no avail. And as this caller is saying, 6 months would elapse and you do not hear anything from the police. In the meantime, the big question is, what do you do? And I know that the traffic department of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, they're trying their utmost. They are understaffed, but we must stop, just using this as a crutch, as some kind of excuse, understaff, and then we cannot do what we have to do so that we can bring relief to people. Again, it begs the question, as was asked by Rick Wayne just yesterday, what really is functioning in St. Lucia? What is there anything that is happening that can make us feel proud in this country? And the exact quote is, do you think there is anything at all in St. Lucia that is remotely working? Coming up in just a moment, we have a whole lot more. Stay with us. This is NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as Power 97.9 and on YouTube.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of care.
The biggest party in sport is back for the 10th year of CPL. And the St. Lucia Kings want to go all the way this year. CPL will be bigger, better, and louder than ever. And with the return of our very own Johnson Charles to the Kings team. The games are between 7th and 11th of September. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Born from the same soil, growing stronger.
Raised of our own sweat and toil, doing it together.
Our bank for you and me,
taking us forward so proudly.
First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. The pride of St. Lucia, here to stay.
Growing up, growing stronger, it's a First National way.
Every day we're making better, faster and smarter, convenience like no other.
First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. We'll go far. For decades every day, it's clear, it's true. First National Bank, we're here for you.
Hillary Herman, Director of Corrections. In relation to the reports that there has been agitation by staff at the Borderley Correctional Facility, I can confirm that there has been a level of discontent with the staff in regards to the time it takes for purchasing of equipment. I am currently in a meeting with the officers addressing the issues and explaining to them that there are no quick fixes to our problems. The Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Albert Poyet, has established a review committee to conduct a thorough evaluation of the operations of the facility, and recommendations are now being deliberated at the ministry level. An update will be provided as the situation develops.
Director of Corrections at the BCF, and they just heard there from Mr. Hillary Herman. And what he's saying that there's been agitation by the employees of the BCF from today, and that is over the purchasing of equipment. But according to him, there are no quick fixes. So therefore, the things that the employees or the staff are agitating for, those will not be rectified anytime soon. So what will happen over the next few weeks, the next few months, we don't know, but we can always assume that it will be more of the same. But definitely the responsibility is that of the authorities to attend to those issues, because again, the prison staff do not have those concerns over the last few weeks. They have not had a problem with regard to the lack of equipment over the last few months. This has been going on for a very long time, and definitely there is need for rectification as soon as possible. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Somebody says, Tim, is it any wonder that every time the SLP is in power, lawlessness is on the increase? Do you recall that it was under Dr. Kenny Anthony and Minister for the Prisons that the HM prison was burnt? What do you expect? The now Minister of Education in opposition promised to go to the prison and release marijuana offenders when the government first priority was to expunge the records and pardon COVID-19 protocol offenders, approve marijuana use without any scientific research as to its effects on the mind. Now, every little boy on the road mocking police officers with a joint in their mouth and in the face of the decent citizens of this country. The fact is that every time Labour in office, lawlessness is on the increase. Another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, in my last press release of January 21st, I put a few questions to the media so that they can investigate this. To date, Not one report has followed up or asked the persons involved. Soon I will send some more questions for the persons involved and let out some more information as a follow-up to the questions and put out more context to this whole saga. I hope that it will help St. Lucians understand the mess that we are dealing with. Patience is a virtue. All right, let's see there. Somebody says there, good afternoon, Tim. What I see going in St. Lucia, there will not be peace. Every day is another story. What I see there, all have sinned. I don't believe no one in the house will cast the first stone. Peace and love. Then a comment. Wow, civil servants. Okay, I'm not going to this one. Okay, another comment. Somebody says there, Tim, that guy said civil servants so many times I thought it was an orientation for a job with the government. LOL. All right, continue with your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let me turn my attention now to our NewsSpin News of the Day. And that is our feature at this time, NewsSpin News of the Day. Steven Seagal appears in Ukraine serving as a Russian spokesperson. You know this famous actor, action movie actor, Steven Seagal. I think he even performed, he's a musician as well. He performed during St. Lucia Jazz on a particular occasion. So our NewsSpin News of the Day, Steven Seagal appears in Ukraine serving as a Russian spokesperson. Let's turn our attention now to the chat room, the discussions taking place there. What are you saying? What are some of the comments that I can share with the rest of the audience? Lots of discussions, but it's taking place among the folks there. Somebody says that there was an official review of the operations of the Body Lake Correctional Facility under that same Labour Party in 2006. And also in the chat room, let's see. Somebody is accusing the Home Affairs Minister of being incompetent. And still in the chat room, some of your comments. Discontent, the people not happy, give the people what they want. They need to protect themselves and others. Okay, what else is being said in the chat room? Somebody says that you should stay away from the Flambeau juice. So just some of the comments being made there in the chat room at this point in time as we continue to focus on your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says, like, really? That's the news of the day, Tim? Yes, that's interesting news. We don't provide you with news that you can easily access, okay? So that is news. You heard it, and I'm sure you're hearing it for the very first time, that Steven Seagal appears in Ukraine serving as a Russian spokesperson. That is quite interesting. Okay, let me turn my attention now to one individual, part of a duo who were on a Newsmaker Live last evening, getting all set to launch a political party known by the acronym THIS, THISS, which is Together Harnessing an Integrated Social System. THIS, THISS. And I'm talking about Mr. Samuel Bowers. And last evening on the broadcast, Newsmaker Live on DBS television, he made reference to some of the qualities of a good politician.
The real value of a good politician is how he builds public institutions, how he builds public structures, how he formulates, say, education policy or guides education policy so that it produces a sort of generation of students who are well informed, or citizenry that is well informed. So if you're a politician and you're a good labor minister, and you could create a good industrial climate that employer and employee are prepared to work together and bond together to produce for the country, then you're a fantastic politician. But the generation of politicians we have now, few of them come to politics to achieve anything. I mean, when last you could say a particular minister, a politician, was perhaps, say, a sports minister, was such a good sports minister that you have a whole structure that really produce excellent athletes or allow excellent athletes to get to get on the track and win their medals, or say even the housing minister, housing and local government minister. I mean, there's so much that has happened in housing over the last 50 years. How new institutions, new organizations, new innovations and products, new ways of people getting into homes, and you don't hear any of that.
You just heard there from Mr. Samuel Bowers of the Together Harnessing and Integrated Social System Party, known as this, THISS. We have a WhatsApp call online. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon to you, caller. Hello.
Hi, are you ready?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
There was some. I'm late, so I'm not sure if this has been discussed already, but there was something very serious which happened in our house on Tuesday and followed up with on Wednesday, where in the member from Mikud South, he was making several statements pertaining to the legislation being passed on the special prosecutor, and he made statements of the relevance of that legislation, supporting the legislation, but also adding commentary of a joint account with a certain former diplomat who now sits as a government minister, and a joint account opened with one of St. Lucia's former ambassadors, who up to now, I don't think we were quite clear on why exactly this ambassador was appointed to the Office of Maritime Affairs when he really and truly had no subject expertise in that field. And the member for Cashree's, your constituency, Tim, remind me, Cashree South?
Yeah, Cashree South.
Cashree South said that he stood up on a point of order saying that he had never had a joint account with anybody, not even his ex-wife or his children. So vehemently denying that fact. Well, in the press conference yesterday, the member for Miku South stated that he had made available to the Speaker of the House, because when challenged to either to retract that statement, he said he would not retract it, he would provide evidence of that. In a press conference yesterday, he said that he had provided evidence to the Speaker of the House. And in further commentary on a different radio station today, he said he outlined exactly what documents he provided as proof of his statement that, in fact, the member from Cashree South had a joint account with a former diplomat, Walid Jafali. Tim, this is a very, very, very serious matter, as this goes against the Finance Act of St. Lucia, that where you need any account open in the name of the government has to go through the accountant general. Tim, if and we have not seen the documents that the member from Mikud South has sent to the Speaker. But Tim, as Lucians, we should not let this slide. We should not let this go. This is a serious and egregious act, and it shows corruption. It shows the usurping of the laws of St. Lucia.
But call it remains.
Watch this matter very carefully.
But call it remains an allegation, because we need to get the document to see whether the document is authentic. We need to hear from the Speaker of the House on this particular matter as well, because if the leader of the opposition is claiming that he presented the Speaker with the documents, I'm sure that the Speaker will authenticate it, and then at the next sitting of the House, he will make reference to it.
Absolutely. And Tim, that's exactly what I'm saying. So he said at the press conference, but we need to know, we need the Speaker of the House to come out and say, yes, that he received these documents and this was his findings, this is what he found. We need these documents in the public domain once the next thing that the House has gone through and the Speaker has had an opportunity to come out and say what was presented to him. But we need that. We cannot go. These things just cannot be brushed aside and brushed aside and brushed aside, as is happening in St. Lucia all the time. That allegations are made on both sides and nothing has happened. We need to see what documents that were where the account was opened in a joint account in the name of the member for Cashree South and Walid Jafari. We need the documents. We need the speaker to make a statement. The member from Miku South was challenged to produce these documents. He said he has. We need to see it. And this cannot go just under the table. Cannot go swept under the table. We need action. We need heads to roll. We need the government to take action. We need a special prosecutor bill. We need it. We need a full extent of the law to deal with this matter if in fact that is the case, Tim. This is a very, very, very serious matter and continues to show a pattern of behavior with what we've seen from a member of Cashew South. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, thank you so much. And we're trying to be extremely careful because, figuratively speaking, those are elephants, and we've heard the old people say when elephants are doing battle against each other, then what will suffer? The grass. So in this particular case, elephants are in battle, and NewsSpin does not really want to be a part of this in terms of besmirching the character of anyone at all. So we're leaving it to the Speaker of the House, who is well positioned to address this particular issue. Because if, for example, the MP for Miku South is wrong, then the matter will be taken before the Privileges Committee, and I imagine that he will be sanctioned. Disciplinary action will be taken against him. But if he's not wrong, definitely we need to hear from the Speaker, because sometimes you see two people going at each other and you just do not know what to make of it. You don't know who is at fault and who is not at fault. So sometimes you really want the truth to come out, and for you to draw your own conclusion and to make sense of certain situations when they occur. That is the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as on YouTube. Thank you, as always, for listening on Power 97.9 as well as on TuneIn. Coming up next, we have a news update to be followed by the Power Drive. We'll be back, God willing, tomorrow afternoon, 12:30, with a final news spin for this week. Goodbye.